Right, the last thing we need to do is to hatch in this bit, and we'll amend one of these things, and we'll put a solid hatch in that, and that should update each one of these hour markers as well. We're going to put a user-defined hatch in this. So the hatch command, or the hatch button, is this one. It's also H on the keyboard, so H and enter. And this gives us the hatch creation dialog box. We need to hit this little tiny arrows, hatch settings. Now it is available also from the drop arrow settings or the right click option. So that will get us to the same place as this is going. And we see this hatch and gradient dialog box. Let's expand it to its full magnitude, because there's an awful lot of things that you can do with hatching and the way it's controlled. We've got the island detection set to outer. Doesn't make much difference for this, but there are different ways in which it'll select objects within objects. What we want, we're not going to deal with gradients, so stay away from those. But we are going to use a user-defined hatch, not a predefined hatch. There's all sorts of different hatch patterns that we can choose from, very similar to the ones that are used in SketchUp. And if we click on this drop down, we go to user-defined. This opens up this box for double, and the angle is going to be 45 degrees, and the spacing is going to be 0.25. Now this is in millimeters. Okay, so this is quite useful when you're doing coursing for brick and block work. You can set this to 75 mil, let's say, and that'll draw you an accurate course on a facade. Boundaries, we're going to leave all that, and hatch origin, we'll use a current origin as well. So we can now say OK to this, and that's going to allow us to pick inside this point. And if we pick inside this point as well, hit enter, that's that hatching done. We're now going to finish off by amending one of these things. If we click on one of these 12 hour markers, and we've got the associated array, let's look at edit source. Okay, so if we click on edit source, doesn't matter which one we choose, but we'll choose this one. Edit source objects in the associative array. Don't show me this again, but yes, we're going to do that. And what we're going to do now is use the hatch command again. This time we are going to choose a solid hatch, because I'm using this option here, so solid, and I'm not going to pick points, but I'm going to select objects. Okay, so I'm going to click on this bit, so that means clicking inside a boundary. This means select the boundary, so I'll select the boundary by clicking on that, and then if I choose this polyline, then hit enter, and then save my changes, then you'll find that each one of these has now been hatched out as well. Okay, so what we're doing is it's pretty much like a component in SketchUp where they make a change to one thing and everything else updates. So it's a nice sort of elegant way of finishing off the hatching. And that's it as far as the drafting goes. There's one more thing that we need to do, and that's put it into paper space. So we're going to move from model to one of the layouts. We'll arrange it in two different viewports, two different scales, and then we'll sort of set it up so we can print it to the machines in the university. Okay, the final part is to print this out. We'll set up our page, and we'll create two viewports, and we'll set the scale at say 4 times full size and probably 2 times full size, or just full size. We'll create an A4 piece of paper from the page setup manager, and we will leave it at that. So we'll notice that we've got two layout tabs, layout 1, layout 2. These are our pages that we're going to be using. So I'm going to delete this existing viewport, but you get one of these free with every new layer, and we will look at the settings of the page. Now if I right click on layout 1 and go to page setup manager, I can also get there by typing in PAG. I'm going to see layout 1 and modify that. And then notice we've got a printer plotter set here for Microsoft XPS document writer. I'm going to choose DWG to PDF. This is the preferred method. For me, it's the PDF creator for a DWG drawing. You might find Adobe or other things in there. We because I'm using this at home, I haven't got access to the plotters in the university, but you'll be looking for the A3 or the A4 plotter to set this up, unless you want to create a PDF, and then you can upload it to Moodle if you need to. So DWG to PDF, choose that option. ISO full bleed A4, that'll be fine. So that's going to give me the sort of maximum extents on the page. If you haven't got that, then just click on this and choose ISO full bleed A4 from the list. Where we go, an ISO full bleed A4. And portrait landscape, those are the options, but basically we're going to go for landscape. Layout, that's all fine there. This needs to be set at 1:1. So if you've got anything different in these boxes, then you need to change that. You might have something like a scale unit of 0.03937 or 25.4, which means that you're working in an imperial and you're trying to convert to metric again. This thing here, the plot style table, we've currently got this set to none, but it's good practice to click on monochrome. This will turn any colored lines that we have to black and make sure that our output is black and white. We don't really want colored lines on a technical drawing, it's black and white. Change the thickness of pens, you can do all that, but the basic line color should be black on white. And display the plot styles, that means we can see the output on our layout. Everything else should be fine. If you've got transparency, then you can use this little icon to plot the transparency, but we're going to say OK to that and close this. Now this is now set to an A4 size piece of paper. If I just went to utilities and measure and just click from there to there, we're looking at about 297, and we're looking at about 210, 211 down this way. Okay, so we know this is A4. What we also need to put in is a little border, and we will just use the rectangle tool. And nothing specific, just click somewhere in that corner, providing it's inside that dotted line, which is right toward the edge. So just eyeball that. And then we can go to our layout tab. Now this is sort of highlighted because we're in a layout here. This is going to give us all the controls for the layout. We want to create a couple of viewports, and the viewports are going to be rectangular, not polygonal or an object derived one, but we're going to choose rectangular viewports. So we click on that. This is going to create technically the same sort of view that we get in layout for SketchUp. So it creates a scaled version of an orthographic view, which is basically this thing. Now this does do 3D obviously, so we could play around in 3D, but we're going to be going orthographic, and this is giving us that orthographic view. There's no perspective in these things. So we need to change the scale. That's the last thing we need to do for this. Now either double click inside the viewport. So if we double click inside the viewport, you're reaching through the viewport, and again you're linking up to the CAD file that is basically over in model space. But double clicking gives you access to that, and also the scale. So I could change the scale to 4 times full size and maybe pick part of it to display. So we'll move that over there. I'll move the viewports over in a second so we can see kind of all of it. So just try to get that centered on that. Double click outside to deactivate the viewport, and then we'll click on this edge and drag this along so we can see all of that. The other viewport that we need to create, we'll draw in this corner, and again it's on the layout tab, rectangular, click from there down to here. And then if we double click inside this, we can change the scale to 1:1, so that's full size, or maybe 2:1. It looks a bit small there, doesn't it? So 2:1, that's better. So we can see this twice times full size, and this is 4 times full size. And then you can sort of move it around a little bit. You could create a little title block in here. If you wanted to move the viewport up a bit, then you can do that by clicking up there. And then you could create sort of a little title block in that area. Just put your name and student ID number. But effectively, that's it. So when you've created that, if you can just put your name and your student ID and call it FACO or something like that, and scale twice full size and 4 times full size, and then print it out and submit it as part of your portfolio. And then that's another thing ticked off.